I always loved the movie Possession, but I would never pretend to say that I understand everything in it. Mark and Anna are having relationship problems. That's the only indisputable truth in the narrative. I would argue that it's not even possible to say who of the two wants to break up the most. The surface level analysis would indicate that it's Anna. And let's roll with that for now. Why would anyone want to break up with Mark? Welcome to Vanessa Júpiter's sitting room. Today we are talking about heteronormativity in Possession. Spoilers for Possession 1981. In the article, heterosexuality is not natural. What is heteronormativity? A states, heteronormativity embodies the idea that institutionalized heterosexuality is the norm for legitimate social and sexual relationships. It is a social norm encompassing a set of behaviors and social structures to be adopted and aimed at regulating gender roles, gender identity, and sexual orientations. People are categorized as men and women and take on so-called gender-appropriate roles. Link to the entire article in the description. With that as our quick definition of the term heteronormativity, let's talk about Mark. Part Mark.
But this is not proper.
There's a theory that Mark is actually a closeted homosexual. It's laid out in detail by Stylist Substance in the video Possession, Sexuality, and Family Structure, also in the description. My reading of Mark diverges a little bit of that. I think Mark is attracted to men, but I'm also confident that he was cheating on Anna with Margie before the narrative starts. I agree that Mark isn't really interested in having sex with either Anna or Helen, but that has nothing to do with a lack of attraction towards women. It has everything to do with the role that he sees them playing at the moment. He doesn't see either of them as his wife. He sees them both as mothers. He says he can't live without you to Anna. But this you isn't the singular person Anna, but rather the family unit. What Mark is afraid of losing is his status as a father, husband, and patriarch. This is echoed in the breakup scene in the restaurant. When Anna says that she wants to break up, Mark says that he doesn't want to see Bob anymore. For him, it's all or nothing. He would feel more emasculated by the prospect of being a father who lost part of his family than by being a single man with no attachments in the world. Because heteronormativity deems bachelors as more acceptable than men who cannot keep their woman. Mark is seen putting Bob to sleep, talking to the child, playing with him. He's a pretty caring parent, which explains the utter shock with which Anna responds when he says that he wouldn't want to see Bob anymore.
I've decided not to see Bob.
At all?
At all.
How can you say that?
This is a problem for Mark, because heteronormativity demands that the woman be the primary caretaker of the children. Mark needs a woman to take on the role of mother for Bob. And when Anna fails in that, he quickly finds Helen to replace her. Helen is seen taking care of Bob a lot more during the narrative than Anna is. She's also a school teacher, and when Helen comes into the household, Mark has no trouble accepting her at all. The inclusion of Helen's little feminist speech is very telling. It's as if the closeness to the progressive ideals of Helen would absolve Mark of his regressive behaviors, at least for himself. Note, the little feminist speech is actually transphobic because it equates being a woman to being able to menstruate. However, it is framed very much as liberated, so for this reading, I am taking it as such. Once Bob was in the picture, Mark stopped seeing the woman that he would share his household with as anything related to sex. Now he wanted them as mothers, and mothers are supposed to be pure, unsexual, respectable beings. And is Anna any of those things? Part Anna.
You look vulgar to me.
Anna has only 2 small moments of motherhood in the movie. The first one goes by really fast, which is when she's helping Bob with the homework in the kitchen. The second one goes by even faster. It's closer to the end of the movie, and she just picks Bob up, and it's one of the most motherly gestures in the entire movie, but it comes so late, and it's so incongruous to the way that she's been behaving so far that it's even weird to see her treating her child like her child. It's also super fast. Those are the 2 times that I see her taking care of Bob in the entire narrative. We also obviously have the videotape scene. She's a ballet teacher for kids, and she abuses one of her students heavily. If heteronormativity demands of women that they be nurturing and good with children, Anna is not that.
I messed everything up, even Bob!
By any heteronormative metric, Anna is a failure. In case it's not clear, this means that she's the hero of the narrative for me, in my reading, in this particular reading. There's a scene where Anna is making a huge mess in the house, throwing everything everywhere, putting clothes inside the fridge. And as she says that she's going to take the clothes to the laundry because that's her job, that's what she's supposed to do, and she's better at it.
And then I read that private life is a stage only I play in many parts that are smaller than me, and yet I still play them. I suffer, I believe, I am.
These small parts include grocery shopping, and is Anna good at that? No, she can't even bring the groceries back to her home, making sure that they won't be stolen on the way. Anna is a bad mother, a bad housewife, and she's feeling oppressed by the roles that she's being asked to play. And in this moment is when she starts looking elsewhere for satisfaction. This is when she finds Heinrich. Part Heinrich.
I used to be afraid of you, but I don't think I am anymore.
Full disclosure, I understand that I'm not supposed to like Mark. I understand that he's really bad, but Sam Neill plays him in such a charismatic way, and he's so hot, that I can't help rooting for him at least a little bit. Heinrich, on the other hand, at first glance, Heinrich seems to be this deconstructed dude. He has this very laissez-faire attitude. He meditates, he practices martial arts, he's very cultured, he's very open-minded about sex. Or is he? That's all a facade, and it slips the second that he sees Anna's monster. At first, he does seem like the most open-minded person in the movie, and that's what attracts Anna to him. In a desperate attempt to escape the openly patriarchal Mark, Anna finds some solace in Heinrich, only to find out he's just as bad. He even has a family in Cincinnati that he says, and I quote, will always be his first family. Anna's sexual relation with the monster can be metaphorically interpreted as some type of kink, or really any type of deemed deviant sexual practices. Heinrich was okay with Anna cheating on her husband with him, but once her deviance became more pronounced, he couldn't take it anymore. He was in fact the one, out of every character who met the monster, he was the one who had the worst reaction. He literally goes blind for a few moments upon looking at Anna's actual sexual desires. In the same article that I used to get a definition for heteronormativity, A posits that there is such a thing as the good homosexual contrasted against the dangerous queer. At first, it might seem very strange to claim that Heinrich, of all people, would be the good homosexual of any narrative, given that he's not even homosexual. But when you contrast him to Anna, it's crystal clear which one of the two is deemed more acceptable by society at large. Anna is the dangerous queer in the narrative, and she cannot cope with living in a society that doesn't accept the sexual practices that she wants. Mark and Heinrich are in opposition with each other, but it's always so silly. Heinrich is stronger, fitter, more cultured, better at sex than Mark. But in the end of the day, that's all just a peeing contest between two dudes who are too self-centered to realize that there's something much more interesting going on with the woman that they are supposedly fighting for. Masculinity in the movie is always connected with this senseless competition that permeates everything. Bob wants to know which one of his two woman caretakers Mark finds the prettiest.
Who's prettier, Mommy or him?
When Bob comes out of the bathtub after trying to not breathe for a while, Mark immediately says that he stayed below much longer than he could. I was very kind to Mark's parenting in the beginning of the video, but the truth is that continuously imparting these types of awful masculine ideals into his small son, including the senseless being contest attitude that he has towards other men. Part monster.
You must restore order.
Once it was clear that Heinrich wouldn't cut it, Anna starts the relationship with the iconic monster, the consummation of all her perverted kinks. The reason most explicitly given for Anna's wish to end the relationship with Mark is her sexual dissatisfaction. And the only time we see her getting there, or
Almost.
is with a monster that has a bunch of tentacles and a vagina head. Her first option wouldn't be to break up with Mark. That becomes obvious when the monster becomes a doppelganger of Mark, as if Mark's form is her ideal. The entire movie could be read as the story of a woman who is desperately trying to make her husband shed her toxic heteronormative behaviors. So, does it work?
Do you really care?
Nope. When Mark goes to Anna's apartment in Kreuzberg, he's so overwhelmed by everything, he literally needs to open a window to be able to take a deep breath. This is a big moment of change for him. He is starting to see what Anna expects of him. He has the opportunity to become the anti-normative monster she wants. After murdering Heinrich, blowing up the apartment that had all of Anna's evidence in it, going back home, seeing a murdered Marge, he sees Anna having sex with the monster. This is the final moment of change. This is the moment where he can finally decide what's going to happen now. The only thing in his way of happiness with Anna is his heteronormative ideals of propriety. And what happens to the movie? The movie becomes a parody of a male power action hero fantasy. There's a car chase, a motorbike chase, there are explosions, and there's a police shootout. And another shootout. All of this in the last 10 minutes. In a moment where Mark was given the opportunity to choose what he wanted to do, he chose to go even further into the masculine ideals of heteronormativity. He's finally confronted with his doppelganger, and he dies with Anna in his arms. Now, only the two doppelgangers exist, and maybe they can find happiness together. Green-eyed Mark is godlike. He might be capable of changing things. He might be the one to take down the systems that have oppressed all of us. In the end, this is what Anna wanted to create. A being powerful enough to destroy the system that had oppressed her entire life. Maybe the death of our two main characters isn't an unhappy ending after all. In the last moments, when Anna's doppelganger is about to let him in and maybe end the oppression once and for all, the system comes crashing down on them. It sounds like war is starting to wage outside. Anna created a literal god in order to destroy heteronormativity. But ultimately, not even that was enough. Just like how Mark would rather destroy the entire family unit rather than being taken out of it for the system. It's all or nothing. If it's not possible to have a heteronormative society, they would rather burn everything to the ground. Hi! Thank you for being here. I'm Vanessa Júpiter. I have this YouTube channel where I mostly talk about horror movies. This is part 2 of my little possession series. My idea was to do multiple videos on the movie, and I might continue, but this is me saying that there are no promises anymore. I really love this movie. I could talk about it endlessly. I'm very happy with the YouTube channel in general. I'm very happy with the projects that I'm having in the YouTube channel. And I don't want to make any promises about anything, really. I might want to come back to Possession, but the last time that I made a video on it, I was kind of like, yes, I'll do like multiple videos like in short succession, and that's just not realistic for me. It's just not realistic for me to make multiple videos on the same subject in quick succession. For now. Consider coming on Sunday to Vanessa Júpiter Reads Frankenstein. This is a live stream project that I have every single Sunday right here on this YouTube channel. It's exactly what it sounds like. I read Frankenstein. We are more than halfway through at this point. And I read 2 chapters each Sunday, and we discuss it a little bit. In the ending of February, I'll be over with it, and I will post a long ramble about the entire book. It happens at 5 p.m. or 17 o'clock Central European time. Love, Vanessa Júpiter.